Hello everyone, welcome to this video session on Bama's Karukku. The explanations of the chapter 5 is the part second in chapter 5, the continuation of my earlier video on the chapter 5. So in this video we are going to continue the discussion of chapter 5 in Karukku, the autobiographical novel by Bama. This is also part of the discussion of compulsory foundation course in English, the paper in English language course, 4th semester BCA, BSc at Mangalore University. Welcome to this video. So in this video, we'll continue the thing that we left in the last video. We were going through the different elements of recreation that Bama in her childhood, the people belong to her community and the children in her community used to enjoy. So particularly in the last video we were exposed to the games they played, and also there was some youth stone they used to go there, and other games like kabaddi and all that, and even we were introduced to fishing or such other sports, such other activity as part of recreation. So towards the end of the last video, one more interesting thing which was introduced to us, that is the arrival of the mic set to their village during Christmas and Easter festivals, and the arrival of the mic was treated as a radio, and they called the mic as a radio, and it was a festive fervor everywhere, along with the festivity of the festive fervor of the festivals. The mic added something more to recreation part of their life. So we'll see how it is in this part of the video. So we can see that the very opening in the last part happened there. When the mic set arrived, all the children gathered there and they supported the mic, the one who set the mic, they supported him. Children helped him setting up the mic. And after setting up the mic, what would they do? They would play the song. Little children come running up to the dais like little mice. See, look at the image in the sense, the comparison that she uses, like little mice. The familiar, in village side you can see mice everywhere. Mouse is singular, mice is plural, right? Illegalo. So there we see where there are grains, and for example paddy field, you see a lot of mice, little mice gathering together. You have famous song of Pied Piper of Chameleon by Robert Browning, that also speaks of a lot of mice in a village where the Pied Piper made the pipe song and the village went there, right? Alva ಕಿಂದರಿ ಜೋಗಿ ಹಾಡನ್ನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಇಲಿಗಳೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೋದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಘಟನೆಯನ್ನು ತರ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಮಕ್ಕಳೆಲ್ಲ ದೇ ಆಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾದರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಡೇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಮೈಸ್, and then we see delighted, they all happy, right? You can see that happiest part of childhood, so beautiful. You can see that here they jumped up and down there, pushed each other off onto the ground, they fell on top of each other and rolled about. That's a good thing. You can, happy part of Bama's life that she's recollecting. Whatever may be the pain, sufferings, difficulties, the poverty that they had in their family, still they have something which was happiest part, that is this recreation. You can see through this she's trying to give an identity to the community. There they had their own talents. That's important. I think this chapter is important to prove the inborn talents or innate talent among the people belong to her community, the Dalits in India in general, that she's trying to project. So you can see here, then they all go there, right, delighted, and they jump, they make all the fun, and then they go home, put new clothes, groom themselves, and return to the days. Again in the evening program, right, they have to wear new clothes. It was a festive season, right? During the Easter and Christmas, mic set used to come, right? Therefore people even wore new clothes, groom themselves. They have to groom themselves, right? By using a comb, right? Combing the hair, right? You see the way I'm using particularly the word comb is, it's not comb, right? C-O-M-B is pronounced as comb, like tomb, T-O-M-B is pronounced as tomb. So you see in the same way, new clothes, groom themselves and return to the days. So these are the way they became active part of that entertainment in that village, right? Then the street burst out with joy. Then the older girls went out laughing, even drew water from the well with the same joy. So series of one after another, you see, Bama is trying to recollect the memory, and she presents that how that happy part of her childhood, that celebration was there, right? She's adding these things. I think happy note in the novel is that how they enjoyed this part of the life ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. The lads to slick down their hair, wear new ನೋಡಿ slick down their hair and wear new trousers or dhoti and walked about touching their hair. Now and then they touch their hair now and then, right? That's a kind of fashion. Now setting that in right manner. So yeah, you can see the way they became. It was a celebration to all. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಖುಷಿಯಿಂದ ಫೆಸ್ಟಿವಲ್ನ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮೈಕ್ ಸೆಟ್ನ ಅರೈವನ್ನ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ರಿಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದೆನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. Again it continues, feast days, so build canopies in front of the shrines in the street, tying banana trees together. You can see the way they build canopies, that kind of arch type thing that we do in festivals. The decorations that we do, they all decorated the surroundings using even the observation you can make here is banana trees. Decoration was made with banana trees. They did not go for any plastic material. So whatever is available in the village, that becomes the thing to decorate. In village side you can see bamboo, for example, or even areca nut, that areca stem tree is used for that purpose. So similarly you can see here, of course, cutting bamboo is prohibited, banned. Still you can see people decorate things with that. Children played holding on to the canopy posts, making them shake and get loose. That's how they canopies, the tying, turning around that, and they all poles, right? They do that. Women would place the lighted candles at the shrines to worship. Yeah, they go to the shrine, ಗುಡಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಇದು ಚರ್ಚಿನ shrine-ಗೆ, ಸಮಾಧಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ they even place the candles there. Small boys pick the thrown out old men's beady stubs and light them using the candles and smoke in secret. See, interesting to observe the subtle observation made by Bama. These are not her grown-up memories. You can see that as a child she was very precarious child, very advanced in her sensibility and perception. That you can see here that she was able to. Little boys used to pick out, thrown out old men's beedies. After smoking, they throw some small part of beedi somewhere, beedi stubs. Right? They pick them, then they light it up and they try it, right? Because they got inspired from or attracted from that style of the grown-ups probably. You can see the way they did it. You can see another thing here, a contrast between the two worlds. Women who placed in reverence, in devotion to that worship that they do, worshipping the God. In that form they do that thing. And the children, they have their own world. Isn't it? That the candle is for their purpose. You can see the way things appear in a different way. So in temples, for example, prasadam, for some it is, I think, prasadam kodutaralla. For some it is prasadam, right? It's the blessings of God. It's accepted as a part of blessings of God. Whereas for some it is a food. Many people who are waiting outside some temples as food, they don't know that kind of blessings from God. They don't think of that. Instead it is a source of food for them. See, different way people perceive things is an example. Again, girls who watched sometimes, but it led to argument as they would threaten to tell their mothers about it. Girls who watched what boys did, and they were the one who squealed there, right? Squeal and chadi helodu. ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ they threatened them that we will no, they never squealed here, but they warned the boys that they would go and complain it to the parents, and that's how they frightened the boys. Parents ಹೆದರಿಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಅವರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಅನ್ನೋದು. The boys long to speak in the mic. ಮೈಕ್, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮೈಕಾಸುರರೇ, ರೈಟ್? ಮೈಕ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಬಯಸುವವರೇ. ಹಾಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು, ಮಕ್ಕಳು they long to go to the mic and they wanted to speak. It was something which was very interesting thing. They were enamored of that mics. They wanted to sing, they wanted to say something there and beat out the rhythm, call out each other loudly to come and sing, right? Announcements. Why do you think this happens? Because they have been exposed into these things, and these things influence them very much, ರೈಟ್. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಬಹಳ ಆ ಎಂಟರ್ಟೈನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲುಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಒನ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ದಟ್ Bama explores several examples of inborn talents, what we say innate talents among them. One example is of Udan. Udan is actually a blower. Literally it means a blower, one who blow flute, for example. So he was a blower. He dragged his wife by the hair to the community hall and beat her up as if she were an animal, and with his belt. See, the man Udan, what is the reason why he was doing? The reason is he was husband, right? He has authority over her. That is the claim of him. So you can see he used to do that ಅಂತ, ರೈಟ್. ಅವ್ನು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಬಂದು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹೊಡೆಯುವುದನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡೋದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ಹೇಗೆ ವಿಮೆನ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಸಫರರ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್. They on the one hand take active part of the house, they do work in the farm or in some Naikar's land, then they come home and do the household chores. Along with that, they were beaten by the men after drinking or doing something. They punished women also. That's the other side of the society. So that's why Bama slightly hint how the status of women was there among their community, and how they become double or triple sufferers for that matter. Everyone watched, though no one tried to separate them. This is one thing. For everybody, it is an entertainment source, and they watch it, but no one came there to separate them. And sometimes what happens, even if people go forward to separate them, they both unite and they will attack. And what did we do to you? Both of them together talk to. No, not in this case. We have seen some other cases where when two people are struggling, when the third one enters, and both of them join hands together to fight the third one, right? That's the situation. For some reason, they would begin quarrel. It always came to blows. That's the next thing. Okay. Anyhow, people say that he, that is the Udan, as the bridegroom, rejected his wife when the priest asked his willingness. The bride's father and uncles threatened him to marry her. He dislikes and beats her for as a kind of repentance, or as a kind of displacement of his anger. That we see. Anyhow, but bitter part of life is life of that woman who receives that beating from him every day, the punishment from him every day. For somebody pushed him, or somebody compelled him to marry her. That was the thing. It's a past story, right, that she's trying to recall. So he was an expert in playing flute using a bamboo pulanguzal. She's using a Tamil word, he used to play it beautifully, melodiously. All wondered how he does it though being an illiterate. That's the thing, right? Without having any education. I think education is needed, but education in the formal setup itself is not education. Informal education is also important. Informal education is life education that we receive in life, right? We learn so many things in our life. That is also very important part of life, that we can see here in Udan's case, that he was an expert in flute. He went to learn under adult education scheme there after some years, when it was popularly running across the country, and his wife abused him as a shameless one for learning education or learning things at the age of at an old age. He was aged, right? And after that, we see he died 7-8 years ago. So likewise, you see inborn talent. One example of inborn talent is Udan. We have another one, Paulu, known as Pig Paulu, was another man like him. He and his son danced brilliantly. What was the talent they had? Paulu and his son had dancing talent. Once or twice they had danced in the place of troop of women from it should be Madurai, right? Marudai. So there was a group of a troop of women performing a place. They came to that place and they were selected. These Pig Paulu and his son were selected. Both of them were selected to even dance in their play. That means they had that kind of talent. Think of the difference here. The women from Marudai, they are the troop. They had formal training, but these two without that. What we say, art brit ಅಂತಾರೆ, right? Art brit ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ that's it's an amateur artist who is showing excellent talent in rather I can say one who never underwent any formal training in art, still he or she possesses excellent skills in art. That's art bred. We have Nekchan's rock garden in Chandigarh as an example for that. It's an art bred, right? A rock garden. If you can Google and find it out, please do see the image of rock garden in Chandigarh by Nekchan. That's an example of art bred. So we have that example here in case of Paulu or even Udan. They never underwent any fine arts, MA or fine arts training, right? They still possessed skills. Big Paulu's son was a great prankster and played the drum better than the professional drummers. That was his Paulu's son's potential or his capacity to play drums. At Easter, the drunken drummer scarcely able to play, and he with 4-5 other youths took over the music to lead the procession. That's the thing. You see, during one in Easter, the expert drummers, professional drummers, scarcely able to play. They couldn't play. They had some problem because they drank, and it is big Paulu's son who, with the 4-5, continued the procession, and he only played the music for the rest of the thing. So you see, therefore, Tavasi Petia's son Paulu sang really well. Alright, Paulu sang very well. He too had a group of singers, and he whole story and song Vilapattu sessions by the bazaar. Vilapattu, like in Karnataka we have Yakshagana, for example, like artistic creation, artistic performances were engaged by them. These are inborn talents where they possessed here. So this line Bama therefore mentions very rightly. In fact, several people were excellent at dance and song and rhythm, though they didn't even have a whiff of learning. So please think of this sentence even in the context of our district, Dakshina Kannada, for example, or Udupi. Here we have that famous Kambala, right? So there are runners in Kambala. We have the example of Srinivasa Gowda, who was able to even beat the running speed of Usain Bolt, right? So we have such examples, many who are talented in the village, nooks and corners of the country. They were not exposed to the mainstream for different reasons, due to lack of training, lack of opportunities. I have, this part of the chapter gives that example, how inborn talents were there among their community also. So then people even beat out rhythm to the songs, hold wide-mouthed, you can see, hold wide-mouthed clay pot against their bellies, tap on it with a small stone. It's a kind of musical instrument. You can see a kind of musical instrument where they play, they create sound using that, using a kind of drum, a kind of pot against their bellies. Ghata anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ವಾ ಅದೊಂದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಎನಿಹೌ ಸ್ಪ್ಲೆಂಡಿಡ್ ವೆನ್ 4-5 people played in unison, swaying their hands, right? That is the music you can see. It creates in music, background music, instrumental music. That kind of beating is also one of the important things. So even the little ones were good at singing and dancing. That's how Bama concludes the way talented people were there among them. Even the bare-bottomed toddlers would sing out. They were able to sing out. That passage in that paragraph in page number 62 is an example how Bama recollects the talent among them. They danced beautifully, never once losing the beat. They never lose the beat. There was no formal training for them, but still they possess such an inborn talent for artistic performances. That's why there were many among them who possessed these skills. Women too sang at different occasions while planting out paddy seedlings. I think you know about the South Kendra region, we have Pardana, right? So similarly, people ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಗ್ಗಿ ಹಾಡುಗಳು ಅಂತ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನು ಹಳ್ಳಿಯ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಡೋದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ, ನಾಟಿಯ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. So similarly you can see they were singing, while planting the paddy, weeding the fields, or harvesting the grain. Different occasion, these are the different occasion where folk literature, folk artistic forms evolved in the history, right? So these are the forums or platforms which people utilize to create the folk artistic talents. when rock their babies, for example, rocking the baby cradles, right? ಮಗುವನ್ನು ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು ತೂಗುವಾಗ ಹಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇರ್ಬೋದು. Young girls came at the age, then they sang dirges to the dead, right? Dirges to the dead, the death song to the dead. I think a famous dirge by William Shakespeare that speaks about how a consolation to the death, right? As he addresses the death itself in one of the songs, right? Similarly, dirges to the dead also sang and danced a kummi in the church after the Easter procession, sang teasing songs to the bride and groom. So these are the different occasions where women possess the talent in singing and artistic talent. Young men also went off to another aspect. Young men went off to hunt in the mountain jungle with their hunting dogs. The hunting is another part of recreation, and they showed talent in hunting also, not just a pastime, but to trap wild pigs and foxes, destroying the crops in the field, right? Hunting was in a way complementary to the agriculture activity, because if the number of those animals increased, then it wasn't possible to grow crop. Therefore hunting was in practice, and they used to kill the animals. They were destroying the crops. Of course this is prohibited today. Wild animals, hunting wild animals is prohibited. And you see, if they caught a wild pig, they would burn its bristle, smear it with turmeric, wash it, decorate it with flowers, and take it round the village in a bullock cart, as if a procession, a kind of showing the one they victoriously killed it, right? Then we can also see the man who caught and killed it would receive a new vesti as a kind of award, a prize catch for him is that he showed his talent in killing that. Therefore he was given some new vesti. After that it will be butchered and distributed to all in the village, right, in high spirit. That was the way people mingled and lived together in that village. So killed a deer once. We have one example of killing a deer once. Killing a deer or mountain goat was forbidden. It wasn't allowed, right? Forest officer would levy penalty on them if they did so, but the forester would turn a blind eye if he was given a portion of the meat. See the way Bama uses her whip of words to beat at the make a critique of the system where bribery can make anything possible, right? So it's a kind of words which are expressed so in a straightforward way by narrating the story, and try to correct that loopholes in our society. Anyhow, with that we can see in this part of the chapter, Bama shows us how her community, or people in her community, or even Dalits in a macro level, had their own talents or unique aspects of recreation. And then they also possessed inborn talent, right? So because her childhood explorations of the entry of the mic into the village provided her platform for this exhibition of their skill for entertainment and exhibition of their talent as well, right? Then this part finally exposed that, as I told you, inborn talent and skills of Dalits in the village, and which cannot grow further and farther due to the lack of support and exposure. That note is there in the chapter, that however talented they are, they don't get that exposure or support to grow farther and go ahead. That is the way Bama, by representing the activities of our village, is giving us a concrete evidence how Dalits have unique way of life, and Dalit identity is repeatedly reiterated or presented throughout the story, right? Thank you so much for watching. We will discuss the remaining in the next video.